These
I
things
made
happen.
an itinerary so that there's a
Oh, fun.
plan.
Fun, fun.
Uh, but first in the docket is how do I do a resume? Okay, yeah, this is what I thought. Let me learn how to share my screen like a grandpa. Oh, good heavens. Can you see it?
Yep.
Cool. Which one? You ready?
Let me get the smudge out of the
Yep.
literal middle of my glasses. Oh, okay, good enough. Delight.
Delight. Oh, that's loud. I'm kind of worried. Last time I did a commentary, I got sick the day after,
Oh,
and
misery.
I've
Let's
been
not
feeling
do that.
sniffly, and I'm really
Uh-huh.
hoping there's not a curse going on.
That's
Okay.
entirely fair. I would
So
not.
it's not
Yeah.
great. So this is headlights.
Yeah.
This is the commentary track for headlights. If you want to introduce yourself.
Oh, so I am Ruthie Walit. My writing name would be Naomi Martin. Uh, but I was still your high school English teacher whenever you were writing this. Uh, that was a hot minute ago now. When
hmm
you wrote this, 2023, fall of 2023, I think.
Yeah, yes, because
Yes.
yeah, correct.
So yeah, I was
That's
your
how
right.
long I
It's,
take on these things.
I mean, it happens.
I'm Roman. I
It's
did
been
a
a
bunch
minute.
of
That
stuff on
transition
this.
was fun.
Yeah, everyone gets really excited. I'm like, I was literally just screwing around one day and I saw it. I'm like, oh, this is good. Like
That's
everyone
honestly
thinks,
how a lot of genius, quote unquote, happens.
yeah. I feel like the way that everyone looked at me when it happened at the premiere, they were like, oh, they're like, oh, so well planned. I'm like, that was literally, I'm pretty sure I accidentally hit cross dissolve.
I feel like that's how a lot of like, especially themes or motifs happen for me is that whenever I'm looking at things, once it's all been drafted, it's like, oh, wait, I might have actually done something intentional
Yeah,
here. That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So this is the writing team for Headlights. I didn't want to invite the actors because I knew that every 5 minutes that it cuts to them, they'd go, ew, and that's not really good commentary. It's not very
This is
insightful.
fair.
Um,
This is fair.
and if I invited Brett, he'd just kind of stare to be um
I am confident that with practice, he would get better at commentary.
absolutely, absolutely. No, there's a showman in him somewhere.
Absolutely.
Um, I guess we could talk about the movie. uh uh That's Chosara.
It
Chosara
is Kasara.
as Maria, Lindsay as Bonnie, me as Riley. We got Chris and Harper as Chris and Harper because I was just burnt out on names for some reason.
That's entirely fair.
Um,
I remember that for a while you struggled to kind of figure out exactly what you wanted Maria to be like. How
oh
do
really?
you I feel like I remember that. You maybe it was specifically the Maria and Bonnie interactions. How do
Mm,
you feel like they came out? How do you feel about the result?
I think the first scene is a good, fun little setup. Um, I feel like I don't know if it was intentional on the actor's part, but I feel like it's very much captures the thing of like these are kids thinking that they're like much more qualified for what they're doing.
Certainly, yeah.
Um,
They're very out of their depth, but in a
yeah,
fun way.
I love how Kasara's going from like all big and bad, and then she's like, hey, can you help me with it? I think that's very well done.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that is very, again, it was not intentional. It didn't happen until we started making it.
Yeah.
Um, there was a point because like with cameras, it was kind of just like these are all children, but we're gonna semi pretend they're not.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and this one was very much like there's one adult man here, and we're gonna play into that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And he
I
honestly doesn't even
mean,
want to be here.
Chris is a great sport, so I'm sure
Yeah,
that it wasn't that he
the
didn't
the
want to be
lovely
there.
man of Chris
Yes.
Litton
Yes.
loves supporting. I'm saying like the character,
Absolutely.
just like
Ah, yes, 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 yes. He's like, why do I have to be the one adult in the room kind of deal?
exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I think, especially considering I know at the premiere, several people said this was their first time being involved in a short film, or this was like their second time, or this was a fairly fresh experience for a lot of people. I feel like it turned out really well considering all of
Yeah, me too.
that.
um, yeah, yeah, no, this was yeah, no, this felt very like yeah, the first proper like it came out well and yeah, I remember at the premiere I was like, this is the first thing I've made where I haven't felt like I need to like go and fix it, at the premiere where like
I
it
think
has
that
its
is super satisfying because I
yeah.
remember that feeling myself the first time that I don't even remember what it was now, but it's very nice to be like, oh, this is
Yeah,
actually like as finished as I think it could be.
exactly. Yeah, it's like there's like a few things in here and there, but it's like it's problems that you can't fix at the skill level or the like funds level that you're at, and it's
Right,
honestly like
totally.
it's very much just problems that you care about, like for realsies. Like
Sure, yeah,
there's
yeah.
plenty of problems in cameras that I feel like I Stockholmed myself into liking, and everyone was like, eh. And then this one, it's just more
Sure.
like people like were like there were issues, and I'm like, yeah, did you not see that? And they're like, no, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I
I feel
also I'm not a cinematographer or anything, but I
hmm
love the lighting throughout this, and it's very fun.
yeah.
Um, the especially I don't know, the fact that a lot of it is shot in the dark and yet you can see everything, that is I I'm old, so I complain about movies whenever you can't see stuff whenever it's dark
Don't
out,
worry,
but I
everybody
can
does. Yeah, yeah,
see.
yeah.
Exactly. So,
It was very
that's also
fun
fun.
on set. So you have this shot of Chrisara, and then you have the shot of me, and you
Yeah.
have the headlight going directly into camera. And
Yeah,
Brett was
yeah, yeah.
operating, and he kept like trying to change the exposure, and I'm like, no, you need to leave it. You need to
Uh-huh.
leave it. And I
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
don't like how like in Chrisara's coverage you can see Lindsay, and in mine you can't. But I think it
Right,
kind of
sure.
works. It
Yeah.
kind of works in a way about how like Lindsay's more listening to what Kasara is saying than what I am. Like
There's
visually, it
that.
works.
It does. I feel like you can very easily like that's you can kind of hand wave that one a little
Yeah,
bit more.
yeah.
Plus, there's the fun of like the light shining through your hair, which is always fun. I don't know. There's also the fun with the black and white.
The fun with him getting. Oh my god, I love watching the when I get my attacked basically in any crowded
Yeah,
room is always a blast because like everyone gets scared.
right. Yeah, as if
Like
you'll actually be hurt in the moment.
yeah, and it's also just like it's a complete violation of what's happened so far because everything's just been like two people talking and like sure they've been yelling
Yeah,
at each other, but like
right.
I
And
like
it's
how
not
it's
violent or anything, but then immediately it is.
yeah, exactly. And I like how it kind of has felt sterile and then it gets all like gross and like I don't know what happened, but all the stuff
Hmm.
after me getting hit, it has like this weird fuzz and like low deftness to it. And I think that was just like
That's
the
kind of fun.
camera getting overheated and like giving up or
Sure,
whatever,
yeah.
or just like vaguely out of focus. But I think it worked really fun. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah. I just noticed this. Kasara, not only does she get some blood on her from whenever she's hitting you against the car, but she also has the sunglasses that kind of look red. And so
yeah,
it's almost like she was already stained with, somebody else's blood on her hands, and then she also has yours to add to it.
yeah, there was some very light color grading in this, but the main thing was taking the color of her sunglasses and like boosting it throughout the whole thing
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah.
get that red. Because there's I talked about this when I was making it like the distinct difference between like light and shadow, black and white. But like
Yeah,
you also
yeah.
have like blue to show off like who the rich kids are, and then also yeah, you have this red
Oh,
that
that's
honestly
interesting.
is mostly just like it's the target almost because it's really only Kasara who has it like on her.
Yeah,
And like
that is
we talked
fun.
about, like she's in literal like rose tinted glasses. They
Hmm.
kind of look like devil horns at the beginning, so like you think she's the bad guy. I don't think
Right.
she's the bad guy, and I feel like no
Yeah,
one agrees
yeah.
with me.
That is also the interesting thing is that you have written that this is a self-contained narrative that exists within a larger universe that nobody else except the two of us at this point really know. So, yeah, no, to us, Maria's not the bad guy at all. She's
Yeah,
just a victim of circumstance just as much as any of these other kid idiots are. But for this movie, she is kind of the villain.
yeah.
How do you feel about people's reactions to her in regards to that?
I don't know. I think a few people were a little well, okay. The one or two people I talked to after the movie, they
Yeah,
were like, our food was coming as the ending was happening, so we missed a few things. And can you
yeah,
explain
sure.
it to us? And then when I
Yeah,
explained that like, Kasara gets betrayed and everything, they seemed a little like, oh, that's but like I don't think
uh-huh.
they're as like emotional about it as I am because
Sure,
like
right, yeah.
as you said, like we know what happens, and we know how like the characters who are the good guys do a lot of worse things down the line in the grand scheme of the story. So we're like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
so yeah, we do have a much different view. But I do think, like I remember, I think like a week before we shot, I was like,
Hmm.
do you think it's bad if a narrative paints someone as a villain, but the directing doesn't? Um,
Yeah, that's a fun
and
question.
so I mean, because like there's the thing of um, like light. Once you're like covered in light in this movie, you're usually doing
Hmm.
something bad. Like
Right,
Lindsay's
yeah.
under the table and she's in darkness and she's away from getting the parcel, which means Fassard can get the parcel and she can escape
Hmm.
and she can get free. But then she turns on that flashlight, or she turns on the phone, it lights up her
Yeah.
face. You see her here where she's like half and half.
Hmm.
And then when the conversation really sets off, she ends up obviously in like the full light of outside.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when we're about to see Kasara's like completely in shadow at the end, as in like kind of being painted as like the martyr at the end of the story.
I feel like you can very definitely we were talking earlier about the very beginning scene with Kasara and Lindsay where like you can see Kasara but you can't see Lindsay and vice versa in a couple of the shots. You can pretend like it's like that too. That
Yeah.
it further plays into who is actually acting bad in that moment and that maybe the narrative hasn't settled yet on
Yeah.
who's the bad guy.
And also I feel like she's in like when we were filming it, Chris was like, there's not
Hmm.
enough light on her. And I'm like, yeah, 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 keep it like
Right.
that. And I feel like
Yeah.
nothing's lit improperly in this movie. Like when something's
Yeah.
underlit, it's usually like that they could have if they
It's fun.
wanted
Yeah.
to. So I feel like
Yeah.
it's if you dig into it enough,
Yeah, yeah.
it's yeah.
It's one of those where
And also it's Lindsay walking out of the darkness in the beginning and
yeah,
into the light at the end.
yes, yes. Which is super fun because it's also, maybe the opposite of what she was really going for
Yeah.
initially, all of the things. That it's fun. It's also just subverting the typical light and dark ideas,
Hmm.
which is fun.
Yeah, I was making a crime thriller. I had to do something that wasn't
Yeah,
typical
exactly.
to save
Exactly.
myself.
Right. Isaiah
But
did so good. That was so fun.
Oh my gosh. You know what? We're gonna put the bloopers on just so we can talk about Isaiah for a bit. Um,
Absolutely, absolutely. The bloopers are hilarious, by the way. They absolutely, I don't know. I was out of it whenever the bloopers were being shown. I feel like that's whenever I finally got my food, but they were hilarious
yeah.
as I look back and Chris is right there.
Oh my God, we haven't stopped talking about how Harper was reading from her script in the final scene, and she's never gonna live that down. But she's
She's
moving
not,
on.
but
She's
it's
getting
fun.
better. She's getting better.
Absolutely, absolutely. absolutely. But Isaiah,
Isaiah
Isaiah
did
and
such
his music.
amazing. Oh my God, and we
Yeah.
spent so much time just like talking about it and going through different variations.
Hmm.
And I genuinely like the when he made the end credits music, I'm like, you've hit it out of the park already. If we can just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
stay
yeah.
on this, it's
Right.
perfect. It has this like organ feeling, of course, and I feel like those ending shots really feel like an oil painting. I'm like, it's mwah, it's
Yeah,
perfect.
especially that kind of leads into the fun with like the blurrier look that it looks more painted
Yeah.
than yeah,
And then
yeah.
those ending shots with like the back of the car, you had like raindrops, and so they're like smearing
Uh-huh.
the lamps and everything, and I really love that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's
But I
super fun.
did want to that final scene with Harper and Chris. I still think it's
Hmm.
incredible that like the end of the movie is just like a lawn take, and it was our first take, and it was the only
Oh,
take
that's
because it was
fun.
20 degrees outside, and I wasn't doing
That's
another
fair.
one despite how
Yeah,
bad it was.
everybody was getting sick too then,
Yeah,
if I
yeah,
remember right. Yeah, because Lindsay was very ill, and then
yeah.
everybody else was
Yeah,
complaining
the
about how
coughing is the
miserable it was.
coughing's gonna come up in a
Hmm.
minute. But I think
Hmm.
it's incredible
Yeah.
that it's literally just like one long take and a few things intercut with it, and people seemed hooked. People
Yeah,
seemed to
absolutely.
enjoy it.
Absolutely. I feel like it really worked. So, that's also fun.
Yeah. Um, it's fun doing the bloopers because I used some old shots. That's a different hoodie than what she actually wears in the movie.
I was gonna
Cause
say, because
yeah,
her
cause she
her
wore
outfit. Yeah, go ahead.
we had this one and it was like this waffle pattern, and she wore it for the first day of shooting, and then she
Hmm.
lost it in between shooting.
Solid.
Um, yeah, and so we had to order a new one and hope it got there on time.
There you go.
And then
Poor
I
Lindsay.
basically she had pneumonia. When did that happen?
Hmm.
Yeah, and she was
Oh
literally like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I have to take my medicine at a certain time in the middle of filming. I'm
yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
yeah,
You're still
yeah,
here. That's great.
yeah.
Appreciate it. Consummate professional.
This was a
Um,
fun day because it was like it was really quick, and I got it done in time, and I felt
yeah,
really good about
that is nice. That is nice. I was going to say Kasara's main like all white outfit for some reason reminds me of the suits in Breaking Bad that they have to wear.
That's fair, yeah, because it does have that like puffiness and like the wrinkles to it and
It looks
everything.
just enough like a lab outfit that it's I don't know.
I think that's fun. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it is interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like there's that opening shot of her where it like pans up her whole like fit, and there's like it's like
Hmm.
wrinkled and it's not as like put together as everyone else's.
Yeah,
And I felt that was a good thing of like showing how she's like trying to like enter a world that doesn't want her and everything. I thought that was fun.
absolutely,
Not
absolutely.
intentional.
Hello. But that's the fun. We didn't talk about this whenever it was, oh gracious. We didn't talk about it whenever it was happening, but the fun of how to show a phone conversation where they're both in cars and
Yeah.
Lindsay's on the left, you're on the right. That was fun
Yeah,
visually.
it was again the thing where I was like, I just need something that's
Yeah.
interesting visually. And then also I felt like that first cut to uh that first cut to Sarah talking to me and Lindsay's in the
Hmm.
car listening, I feel like it's really haunting. And I
Yeah,
really
yeah, it's
like it.
super fun. It is. It is.
I guess that's the commentary because we've run out of
Yeah,
stuff to do.
right. To commentate.
Next one's gonna be longer,
Oh,
guys.
hey, but hey.
Bye.